is for the win. This 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 is for the win. 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 This is for the win.
Welcome back to the CPENN4THEWIN Show. This is your host, Charles Penn, and we are back with episode number 23. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on your social media platforms. Comment. We are back with another one, man. We got a lot to cover this week. The association, as we get close to the playoff stretch, get close to the play-in tournament. We got a lot to cover there. The NFL draft just happened. We're going to cover that. And Aaron Rodgers and this big news. We're going to deal with that. We got MLB, man. I haven't covered MLB yet on the show for this season, so we'll get into that a little bit. And also to conclude the show, we're going to get into Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul and that nonsense. But first off, let's start off with the association. The Brooklyn Nets, they have finally hit a bump in the road. They finally slumping. They're currently on a 4-game losing streak. They have lost to Portland and then the back-to-back with the Milwaukee Bucks and recently with the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, this is their first time they faced this kind of adversity all year long. To me, in my opinion, this doesn't affect anything. Right now, I believe that KD, by the looks of it, KD, offensively, he's still a dog. He's still arguably the best offensive player in the league or one of the best in the league. But you could tell, like, in certain instances of the game, he's still trying to work his way into game shape, mainly defensively. Because, I mean, we seen where he didn't really guard Giannis during that 4-game losing streak, but he's still trying to get his full win back together. So I believe come playoff time, if these two teams were to face each other again, you'll see KD on Giannis more often, and KD will be back to the solid defender that he's always been throughout his career. You know, he doesn't really get enough credit for it, but still. I'm not really too concerned about Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving, I think Ramadan is coming near to an end. He's still working his way through that. He had some good performances. Then there's other times where it looked like his legs have been gone. So, and also James Harden is expected to return sometime next week. So, you know, hopefully he'll come back just in time to get a few games on his belt and get ready for the playoffs. So, Brooklyn Nets, I'm not really too concerned with them. The only things that concern me is Steve Nash / Mike D'Antoni and health. So, like, with Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni, they kind of been, I don't know if they've been experimenting with the lineups or what, because certain guys haven't been playing as much. I know in that Milwaukee game, I was disappointed. Like, they didn't play Alize Johnson that much, and they didn't play Nick Claxton that much. I feel like if they were to face the Milwaukee Bucks again, they're going to need those guys out there, especially if you need them to give up some fouls against Giannis. And you definitely need them to rebound the basketball too, because DeAndre Jordan, he looks pretty cooked. I'm sorry. Like, he's get to that point where he can't depend on his athleticism anymore. And, like, once that's gone, like, what does he really have left? So we got to address that. And moving forward, like, Brooklyn's going to be all right. I still they'll be the favorite in the East, but hey, you never know. You can't write some of these other teams off. I mean, Philly's going to be in contention. Milwaukee, we done mentioned. They improved tremendously with Drew Holiday on their team, and that's why Drew Holiday is getting paid the big bucks. I mean, because we seen early in the year that Milwaukee Bucks, they were struggling a bit without Drew Holiday on the floor, but since Drew Holiday's been back in that lineup, they've been cruising. And also, they put Giannis at the center more often. Like, they play him at the 5 more often, and the team is moving the ball better. They being more efficient on offense, and Giannis is being more efficient on offense as well. So, you know, like I said, the East is going to be interesting, and Brooklyn's going to be fine. They'll get back rolling again. Now, let's get to these Lakers. First off, the Lakers, they seem to be in danger of being in the play-in tournament. Right now, they're tied for 6th with Portland. And right now, the current game on their schedule is against Portland. I don't know, by the time this show is recorded, by the time this show is recorded and uploaded, these two teams may have already played, but I don't think the Lakers are going to be in the play-in tournament, man. It'll be interesting. It'll be surprising if they do get there. But I know one thing. LeBron, you know, since he returned to the lineup, they've lost both games, but then he hurt himself against Toronto. And after they lost to Toronto, he was complaining about the play-in tournament, saying that he's saying that the playing tournament is stupid, it's dumb. But it's quite funny you say that, LeBron, because like it's not the first time he said this. But when the season was in the bubble last season, he changed his mind. He changed his stance on it a bit, saying that, you know, the teams that are in the 7-10 range, they should play a 5-game series. Like that was one of the suggestions he put out there on the podcast with him and Channing Frye and Richard Jefferson and Allie Clifton. He mentioned that idea. So now all of a sudden, since the Lakers are in danger of being a playing tournament, now you want to go back to saying, oh, it's stupid and all that. Like, LeBron, listen, of all the stuff the league has done for you, you can't go against the league like that, my brother. So, for what I heard, now, I got to say this is allegedly. You know, unfortunately, I got to say this is allegedly. But that next day, Adam Silver hit him up, hit him on the phone, and he was in the Zoom meeting with him and Malik Rose, VP of operations in the NBA, and Rob Pelinka. They was all in the meeting, and they basically told LeBron, look, we don't mind you complaining about the playing tournament, but you can't call for somebody's job. You can't call for somebody to get fired, my brother. Like, you just crossing the line. So, yeah, a little talk or two, but then after that, allegedly, LeBron is saying that if the Lakers were doing the playing tournament, he's not going to play. And it sounded like quitting on the team, man. Like, it sounded like you're not really confident in your team, bro. So, I don't know, man. But I know one thing. You know, LeBron, you just need to worry about your health and everything. And you got a good enough team, man. Like, you got a good enough team to not be in the playing tournament, bro. So, I don't think you have anything to worry about, in my opinion. So, I think in this stretch in the week, I think the Lakers, they will beat Portland, but they'll lose to the Suns. I mean, that's how I can see it in the week, but we'll see where LeBron stands next week. We'll see when he returns, man. But speaking of guys who are getting hurt, man, like Anthony Davis, man, like, it's getting annoying. I'm sorry. Like, he's one of the most talented players in the league, but, my goodness. Like, that first quarter against the Clippers, man, he misses a jump shot, right? He misses a three, right? This dude completely lost awareness where he was out in the court. All of a sudden, his right foot, you know, touches the board near the scorer's table, and he twists his ankle all of a sudden. But the funny part about that is, okay, he continued, right? But overall, he only played 9 minutes. And all of a sudden, we get a report talking about he's out for the rest of the game with back spasms. I'm like, come on, dude. Back spasms, like who really gonna believe that, bro? I'm sorry, man. We ain't see you holding your back or anything, bro. At least I didn't see it. And then after the game, you mentioned how you would be ready to go against the Blazers. You know, so that's how I know it's not back spasms, bro. You just tweak your ankle and then you kind of see the writing on the wall how the game was going. You know, the Clippers, they just took it to you and you was like, it ain't worth it going back in the game. So it's a trip, man. It's a trip with these two stars on the Lakers, man. I don't know. We'll see how this team does, man. But, of course, they'll continue to get back in the NBA Finals. But it's just interesting. The main guy they need to be concerned about, however, is Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder been the key to that team. Because we've seen in different instances now, like whenever he's out in the lineup, that's when the Lakers really, really struggle. When he's in the lineup, he can keep it together to an extent, you know, whether it's AD out or whether it's LeBron out. But it also came out that, because right now it came out that he's currently under health protocols again. And it's not the first time. And like he accidentally spilled the beans about him and LeBron not taking the vaccine. So it's a huge mess going on in LA right now. But, you know, everywhere LeBron has gone, it's pretty much been drama. So, I mean, they'll figure it out. But to move right along, we're going to get into the MVP race. To me, the NBA MVP race is giving me a headache, man. Like, it's always something different, man. Like, Chris Paul, he's finally getting this due as an MVP candidate, and rightfully so. Currently, the Suns have the best record in the NBA. But what's giving me a headache is some people are trying to make a case for Devin Booker. Now, don't get me wrong. Devin Booker is a good player. He really is. But when you look at Devin Booker's numbers, it's on par to what he's been producing in his entire NBA career. And this is the first time he's ever had a winning record with the Suns. Like all the other times, he had a losing record. We've seen them lose less than 20 games, barely went over 20 games. And then last year, they did make a run. They did go 8-0 in the bubble. They just fell short of the playoffs. And people want to say, you know, they might have carried that momentum over to this season. But But listen, man, Chris Paul, he's won everywhere he's gone, man. And like last year with Oklahoma City Thunder, nobody had Oklahoma City Thunder in the playoffs. And they thought they was in rebuild mode, but Chris Paul got them in the playoffs, man. Chris Paul, people acting like Chris Paul's numbers ain't really been all that great. Now, to me, when I'm looking at his numbers are pretty solid. To me, this year, he's currently averaging 16-9, and he's flirting with a 50-40-90 season. He's like 1%. He's like 1% off of 50% from the field and 1% off from the 3-point line. And he's shooting a career high from the free throw line, too. So, with that being said, we add all that together. Not only that he's helped Devin Booker maintain his production, he's also helped Mikal Bridges take his game up to another level. Mikal Bridges, he's scoring more, he's defending, and you also got guys in Sarge and Cameron Johnson, and Cam Payne's still in the league somehow because of Chris Paul. So the Phoenix Suns got a good squad, and you gotta give most of the credit to Chris Paul and a lot of it to Monty Williams as well. Monty Williams, he's always been a solid assistant coach, and I think he's turned himself to a solid coach as well. So I don't have an issue with Chris Paul being an MVP candidate. I just have an issue with putting Devin Booker in there when Devin Booker ain't never had a winning season. So, but with that being said, I got Chris Paul currently third on my MVP list. If I were to end it, I would have Jokic as the MVP. Even though Denver, they're not the number one team in the West, they're still a top 4 seed, and they lost Jamal Murray, and they've had to go through instances of COVID as well. Like Michael Porter Jr. was out for a little bit due to COVID, but he's came back and he stepped up in the second scorer role, and the addition of Aaron Gordon has helped as well. But at the end of the day, like without Jokic on that floor, that Denver Nuggets team, it would drop significantly because Michael Porter Jr. I don't think he's quite ready to be a number one option. But despite him going on this tear lately, so he needs a little more time before you even consider him being a number one option in the future. Jokic, he runs the point, he gets guys involved, he scores the basketball, he gets rebounds, and I got him number one. Number two, I got Joel Embiid. Like we can't forget about what Joel Embiid is doing in Philly, man. He's doing it on both ends of the floor. Philly, they still on top of the East. You know what I mean? They're 45-21. So you can't forget about Joel Embiid. Like I mentioned, Chris Paul. And at number 4, you gotta get some votes to Julius Randle. Okay, the New York Knicks, they had 0% chance of making the playoffs before the season started. Like they didn't give them a shot, man. Julius Randle has been working his ass off, man. Like, of course, he should be the favorite to win the most improved player, but at the same time, you gotta give him some votes for MVP, man. Because the Knicks, they're a top 4 team in the East. Like that should be a given for him to get MVP votes just off of that. And of course, you got to give credit to Tom Thibodeau as well for bringing that culture along, bringing his guys, Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson along everywhere he's been. So, got to give credit to Julius, man. Julius has turned himself to a franchise player that I think he can build around for years to come. And to round it out is Giannis, of course. Giannis, back-to-back MVP, Milwaukee, they're a top 3 team in the East. He's pretty much putting up the same numbers he's been putting up. And he's currently on a roll right now. Big wins against Brooklyn, and he's carrying the momentum. So that'll round out my top 5 for MVP. But I'm gonna address something real quick though with Nick Wright. I haven't been watching ESPN and Fox Sports 1 like that because they don't got ridiculous with their BS narratives and all that. But I seen the clip of him talking about making a case for CP3 as far as winning the MVP. And he says, like, this ain't the Stat Achievement Award, you know what I mean? And he also said this ain't a Lifetime Achievement Award. He was trying to look at Chris Paul as somebody who's making an impact without the gaudy stats. But it's quite funny you go this route, in which you went a different route last year with your guy LeBron James, just because he led the league in assists finally for the first time in his career. And Anthony Davis led all the other categories for the Lakers team. But yeah, you go this route this time with Chris Paul. It's just quite funny to me how you go against this little stat argument that you usually go with all the time when it comes to certain players. So on that note, that covers everything for the association for now. It's going to be an interesting stretch before the playoffs hit, and we'll see how this play-in tournament goes. Again, they need to get rid of it, honestly. They really need to get rid of it. I don't think it's going to play out well, but we'll see. All right, let's get on with the NFL draft. It wasn't much of a surprise, except for the third overall pick. Everybody's talking about the third overall pick. Everybody was, hyping up Mac Jones, and then all of a sudden, Justin Fields and Trey Lance entered the conversation. But at the end of the day, Trey Lance got selected in third overall to the San Francisco 49ers. Dead in all controversy in regards to where it's going to go as far as their quarterback in the future. Now, San Fran has to play it right. I believe that they got to sit Trey Lance for a year like how the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes. Let him learn under Jimmy Garoppolo for 1 year, and then he'll get out there for the 2022 season. So the Niners, they made the right selection, and I think Trey Lance is going to be a dog. I think he might be the best player in this draft class. And there's a few trades that went down, like between NFC East rivals. Number 10, the Eagles, they traded up, and they got Devontae Smith as a future wideout. I know there's concerns about his weight and his frame, but I think him and Jalen Hurts, they can get something going together. They both played at Alabama, so. And then, I'm gonna name a few winners for me as far as teams in this NFL draft. First off, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, they loaded up on defense, man. Like that's where they really need to go, because offense, I think they're pretty set as far as the weapons on their team. But to get Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox as the future of your linebacking core, that's huge. Like, because that first seven, they was getting torched, man. Like, they wasn't getting no pressure, and the linebackers having a hard time covering. So you get a guy like Micah Parsons who could pretty much do it all. But like the thing he needs to work on is his pass coverage. But I think he can fill in at the Mike linebacker and help those guys out right away. Jabril Cox, he's a nice cover corner. He can cover tight ends. His weakness is against the run. Maybe work on that a little more. But then also, like, the Cowboys, they added a corner in Kelvin Joseph. Like, a lot of people expected them to pick Surtain, but Surtain was already gone off the board. So they had to make adjustments and trade down a bit. And I believe the Cowboys, they did a heck of a job addressing their weakness. So their defense is going to get a little better. And now you add Dan Quinn, who's a defense coordinator. And he may be able to work some magic. I mean, I know his last couple stints, they haven't ended well, but at the same time, I think this gives Cowboys fans a little bit of hope. And I think they can definitely contend in the NFC East. If they are healthy this time. Like last year, they got injury riddled and everything. So. Another winner I'm gonna mention is the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, man, they loaded up, man. Like Greg Newsome, you add to that secondary. You add JOK for value at linebacker, and those are the notable names. And then also, like, they also added value later on in the draft too. So Cleveland, they're trying to get to the bowl, man. They're gonna be contending in the AFC. I know last year they got back in the game with the Chiefs, but circumstances with Patrick Mahomes getting hurt and everything, but this Cleveland team is on the rise. Another winner is the Chicago Bears, and it's simply because they got their quarterback of the future. Now, I didn't think they would select Justin Fields. I didn't think they would select a black quarterback because it's something about that organization, man, I guess, when it comes to black quarterbacks. But I think Justin Fields, he's going to be sitting out for a year myself. I'm having a hard time believing that he'll ever get out on the field this year, but if he does, I mean, cool. But I think when they already tweeted out that Andy Dalton's going to be quarterback number one, I believe they're going to stick to that plan still. But, hey, you never know. If Andy Dalton struggles at some point, the fans will be chanting for Justin Fields' name, and they might have a change of heart. So we'll see how that goes, man. And then also, excuse me. Also, you got teams like the Dolphins and you got the Denver Broncos. So there's a few winners, and I think the Chiefs won too, personally. You can be a little biased, but they addressed the offensive line, man. They making sure number 15 is well protected this year. Creed Humphrey at center for one. Then you get Trey Smith as your last pick. That's incredible value. The dude was an All-American tackle at Tennessee, so you can't beat that. And then the Chiefs fans, they was kind of iffy on Nick Bolton. Like, some love the pick, some hate the pick, but I see Nick Bolton play enough in Mizzou to where they're going to get a heck of a player. And I already interviewed a former Chief, and he confirmed that they needed to go this route anyway months ago. So Chiefs also had another great draft. But I want to get to the losers. Texans, man, you get this quarterback from Stanford, Davis Mills, as your third round pick. I haven't heard great things about Davis Mills, but he definitely looks like a guy that's going to be a career backup. But then they got Nico Collins from Michigan, and to me, with Michigan wide receivers, they haven't had a great track record lately as far as production in the league and everything. So, I mean, I know Nico Collins is fast and everything, but you just got to keep an eye on him, man. I don't know with the Texans, but I like the Brevin Jordan pick though. I'll give him that. But other than that, I'm not too sure about the Texans draft. The Minnesota Vikings, they draft selection was questionable too. Like, they'd already paid Kirk Cousins all this money to be the franchise quarterback for the future in Minnesota, and then you drafting Kellen Mond. So I don't know what kind of message you're sending. Are you saying that Kirk Cousins need to step it up a little bit or what? I mean, I don't know what's going on in that selection. So that's another team that was pretty questionable. And then we got to go with the Raiders too, man. We got to go with the Raiders to conclude my losers, man. The Raiders, I don't know what they be thinking in the NFL draft. They always reaching, man. They the reach guys, man. They are definitely the reach guys. Alex Leatherwood, excuse me. He's an offensive guard from Alabama. But that's a day 2 guy, man. He's not a 17 overall pick, man. I'm sorry. He's a decent guard, but not no first rounder, bro. I'm sorry. Oh, the Raiders, I don't know what to say about them. They reached. They definitely reached. So that's few of my opinions on the NFL draft, and we're gonna see how these players turn out. You know, Trevor Lawrence, you know, everybody there's been a few opinions about Trevor Lawrence. They say he's a once in a generational quarterback or whatever, but I don't know, man. I think he'll be okay, but I just don't know. I don't know if he'll reach that plateau like that. People comparing him to Peyton Manning and stuff here and there, but I don't see Peyton with him. I think he'll be okay. But I'm not really too high on the quarterback class. But like I said, Trey Lance is going to be the best one, in my opinion, out of the quarterback class. So I think next year's draft class is going to be stronger at quarterback. So, but now let's get to Aaron Rodgers, man. I'm really getting sick of Aaron Rodgers and his complaining, because Aaron Rodgers just came out and said that, you know, the Packers organization doesn't provide him any more help on offense in particular. He's done with Green Bay, and he's already requested a trade before. It came out that Aaron Rodgers was trying to go to the San Francisco 49ers. Like, a deal was in place, but then, you know, the Packers turned it down. Both sides couldn't come to an agreement or whatever. But now it's being rumored that Aaron Rodgers is linked to either the Raiders or the Broncos. And at the time when this news came out, I came out and tweeted on my personal page saying that would it surprise y'all if you put on the silver, black, or orange crust? And then all of a sudden the report comes out that those are the teams that are involved. Now, to me, whenever this trade does happen, you know what I mean, whenever Aaron Rodgers does leave Green Bay, I think he goes to Denver. I think Denver is in play because we've seen John Elway make this move before. Now, he's not necessarily the GM anymore, but, you know, he's been in the GM's ear and everything. The GM in Denver right now, he's been in his ear and everything and saying that we should go out to Aaron Rodgers and, you know, try to give him a bowl before his career's up. So it'll be interesting. Like, if he does go to Denver, it'll be a little more competitive AFC West. I know that it'll bring the best out of Patrick Mahomes even more, you know, seeing that he'll have a little more competition in that division. But I just want to talk about Aaron Rodgers real quick. Aaron Rodgers is acting like this dude has never really got any help in Green Bay, and that hasn't been the case. That's far from the truth. The dude, when he first became a quarterback, he had Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, Randall Cobb, and he had a decent running game. Like, this dude came out the gate with weapons. So, and throughout the course of time, Green Bay has provided him with those weapons. Like, over the course of time, Devontae Adams, he's developed to a number one receiver. Lazard, even though he was hurt off and on, he developed to a decent wide receiver number 2. Robert Tonyan is developed to a decent tight end. And you got Aaron Jones in the backfield. You had Jamal Williams back there. And, like, people act like Aaron Rodgers' defenses ain't been all that great, but he's had guys like Charles Woodson come through there, help him win the Super Bowl. He had Clay Matthews. He had a decent slot corner in Sam Shields. As a matter of fact, he was one of the best slot corners in the league. And he had A.J. Hawk and B.J. Raji for a short period of time was a great defensive end. And Now you got guys like the Smith guys on the defensive ends, you know? So Aaron Rodgers has had all kinds of health throughout his entire career. I think he needs to look in the mirror himself and make some adjustments to his game because we've seen it. Aaron Rodgers, for his great completion percentage, his great TD to interception ratio, he has at times when you watch him play, he's getting up on the play too fast. Like there was times where he could extend the play a little further until he found somebody open, but instead he throws the ball in the dirt or he'll throw it away out of bounds to where, and then like you'll see on the replay at times he he missed somebody open or missed somebody breaking open, you know, after the initial route was covered. So he needs to adjust the game. He needs to adjust himself. And people really put him on this pedestal, like how LeBron James is in the NBA. Like this dude always gets a pass, and people say that he's better than Brett Favre, and I'm like, hell no, he ain't better than Brett Favre. Because look, Aaron Rodgers never won back-to-back MVPs like Brett Favre. He never went to back-to-back Super Bowls like Brett Favre. So, and Aaron Rodgers better be lucky he even got that one Super Bowl. Because when I look back on that Super Bowl run, the Packers almost didn't make the playoffs that year. Like in Week 17, they played the Chicago Bears, and the Chicago Bears already clinched everything. They already had home field in the NFC. So they didn't really play their guys like that in Week 17, and that's how the Packers got in the playoffs. So just imagine if Chicago had played their guys that night. You know, the Packers might not have made it to the playoffs that year. And then, you know, you had a little postseason run, but then like in the NFC Championship game when you played the Bears, Jay Cutler gets hurt. He can't go back in the game. And you almost lost to Caleb Haney, bro. Like Caleb Haney was hanging with you, dog. So all in all, man, since that Super Bowl, he's been to multiple NFC Championship games and he's come up short. Whether it was a close game or he's gotten blown out, man. So they put this guy on a pedestal as one of the greatest quarterbacks we ever seen. Like as far as arm talent, yes, but as far as like overall body of work, I'm sorry. Like y'all putting him on this pedestal way too much. Like, is he in the top 25 somewhere? Maybe he's somewhere in there, but just to put him like in the top 10 greatest quarterbacks of all time, I can't give him that. So at the end of the day, he need to look himself in the mirror and he need to adjust, man. He need to figure out what he can do to better himself to end his career on the right note. I have yet to cover Major League Baseball on this show. The season already been started and everything. Probably should have been covered it maybe on the last episode, but you know how things go. But the breaking news that happened over the week is that Albert Pujols, he got released by the Angels. He's in the final year of his contract. He signed a 10-year deal that was worth like close to $300 million, if I'm not mistaken. But Albert Pujols, you know, before he got that contract, he was one of the best players in Major League Baseball, and a lot of people say he was behind Barry Bonds until Barry Bonds retired. This guy Albert Pujols, he's still the only player in Major League Baseball history with over 3,000 hits and over 600 home runs and multiple World Series titles. Now, people forget how good Albert Pujols was back when he was in the St. Louis Cardinals uniform. Like, they didn't call him the machine for nothing. This guy, I just want to point out a few things that Albert Pujols. He had a series against the Houston Astros, and the Cardinals, they still lost a series, but you know, the Houston Astros, they was 1 out away from advancing to the World Series. I believe that was in Game 5, but at the time, he was facing closer Brad Lidge, and Brad Lidge at the time was one of the best closers in baseball. And Albert Pujols essentially broke him. Like, Lidge let that hanging slider in the middle of the plate, and Pujols cracked it, and it helped bring the Cardinals. He helped keep the Cardinals alive in the series. That was one of the great highlights of his time. But you know, Brad Lidge eventually wasn't the same until he got in the Phillies uniform and he won the World Series. But that started out for many great things for Albert Pujols, man. Albert Pujols, I remember in Game 3 against the Rangers in the World Series. In Game 3, like at the time, the first 2 games he went hitless. But in Game 3, this dude went Reggie Jackson on him, man. Like, this dude went 4 for 4 with 3 home runs. Like, it was one of the best performances I've seen in any World Series. So Albert Pujols, he's not just a great regular season player. He's been clutching the postseason as well, man. Like, this guy, for his career, like in the postseason, he's batted .323. And that's pretty damn good for all the postseason games he's been in. And like just all the numbers he has put up, man. he's had seasons where he's had like well over 340 home runs and over 100 plus RBIs. And like that was within like the first 10 years of being in the Cardinals uniform. Like 40 home runs here, 50 home runs there. So, and he also won a batting title. And like people talk about Mike Trout. I mean, Mike Trout started to be on that pedestal too with Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James. They putting him as like arguably the greatest baseball player to ever play the game, or he's up there. And I'm like, as good as Mike Trout has been, Albert Pujols' numbers in his 10 years in the Cardinals was better than what Mike Trout is doing right now. I'm sorry. I'm looking at what Albert Pujols is doing right here, and these numbers are ridiculous. Like Mike Trout's numbers aren't touching what Albert Pujols is doing, and Mike Trout's been in the league 10 years now. So we gotta pump the brakes on Mike Trout a bit. I'm not saying Mike Trout is not great. Like he's arguably the best baseball player on the planet right now, or he's up there, but I can't put him on that pedestal, man. And when you look at what Albert Pujols has done throughout his MLB career. Now, the Angels, it didn't quite work out like how it did with the Cardinals. You know what I mean? He had one All-Star appearance, but at the end of the day, Pujols is gonna be the first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt, man. And the guy was incredible to watch throughout his career. If this is indeed the final stop for Albert, so shout out to Albert Pujols on a great career. If this is the final stop for him. All right, let's get to the rest of the league, man. Now we're looking at these standings here, and you know you got the Red Sox doing their thing. They currently have the best record in the American League, along with the Oakland A's. Those guys have been putting up some monster performances offensively. Pitching still yet a little bit to be desired, but you know they might get that right at some point. I mean, it's still early in the year. Now the AL Central, the race got a little interesting. My Kansas City Royals, they got to a fast start. You know, they was leading the AL Central, but they got in a little slump as well lately. Cleveland, they just completed a 4-game sweep against them. Even though it was a little bit of controversy with Angel Hernandez, but you know, I'm gonna get on him at another time. But but yeah, we got the Cleveland Indians leading the division. We got the White Sox and the Royals. They was in a 3-way tie, but now they severed by a half game each. That's gonna be interesting to see. But as far as like an American League team overall, I mean, a team to look out for really is the Toronto Blue Jays. They got a nice young lineup. You know, you got the sons of past great MLB players in that lineup, like Vlad Guerrero Jr. You got Bo Bichette, who's Dante Bichette's son. Then you got Biggio, you know, Craig's son, Kevon Biggio to be exact. So that's the one team to look out for as far as like making a run in the postseason. But other than that, I mean, I think everything is played out. I know the Yankees, they've been disappointing. They had cold bats in April. They wouldn't get anything going. But lately in May, they starting to get it rocking a bit. And Giancarlo Stanton starting to look like his old self before he put on the Yankee uniform. So it's good to see that. And I hope Stanton is healthy and the Yankees can continue to get on this little run they've been having lately. And they might get in the mix too. Now, in the National League, you know, everybody knows the Dodgers, they should be the favorite out of the National League. They should be able to win. They should be able to win the NL East. I mean, not the NL East, but the NL West. But, you know, the Padres, they added some more talent in the offseason. You know, Fernando Tatis Jr. leading the way, Manny Machado, and they improved their pitching staff, and Darvish and Blake Snell. But there's another team that's trying to make some noise, man, like kind of like how the Royals are trying to make noise in the Central. In the American League, you got the San Francisco Giants. They currently have the best record in the National League at 18-13, playing their little small ball, and they pitching the ball pretty decent. So who knows how long the Giants can hang in there, but that might be an interesting NL West. The East, you know, you got the Phillies, they up front. But the team that's been disappointing is the New York Mets. They signed Francisco Lindor to a huge contract. You know, him coming from the Indians, and he's been disappointing. Like, he's currently hitting under 200. They fired their hitting coaches recently. So the Mets, they trying to shake some things up. They try to get some things going. And like, the thing with the Mets is this, man, like the past few years, Jacob deGrom's been a beast. Jacob deGrom is currently the best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion. But yet, every time he gets on the mound, the dude can't get no run support. Like, so the Mets really got to get that together, man, because Jacob deGrom should not be getting this treatment. And really, I hope he gets traded to a real contender, honestly. And then in Central, we got the Cardinals up top. You know, speaking of Albert Pujols' former team, the Cardinals, they out here doing it. Nolan Arenado, he's picking up right where he left off when he played with the Rockies. He's hitting the ball well. Paul Goldschmidt. And then they pitching's been pretty decent as well. The Brew Crew's right there. The Reds got out to a hot start. Like they were just killing it, man. They was putting up runs like crazy, but they've been kind of skidding lately too. They're a game under 500. So we're going to see how this National League plays out. But as of right now, you know, I can see the Dodgers coming out the National League. And the American League, it's going to be interesting, man. Like, I think it's going to be the White Sox and Blue Jays getting in there. And the A's, you know, a Billy Beanball, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens, man. But I'll cover this league even more extensively as the season goes along. But to go ahead and conclude the show, I want to hit me with the You're Childish segment. And Logan Paul, you're childish, bro. Childish, bro. What's up with you taking off Floyd's hat, man? This little interaction you guys got going on. Now, as everyone knows, Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, they're supposed to fight each other next month on June the 6th at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Now, this little interaction to me, it looked kind of staged, honestly. And it's because after the fallout, I seen Logan Paul go to the website and go to his own website and put up these hats talking about gotcha hat on the back. Gotcha hat. Like, this dude really trying to make a profit out of that. But hey, I can't knock the hustle, you know? And now Floyd Mayweather, he's doing an interview with Barstool Sports, I guess, talking about the incident. I'm like, what the heck is going on, man? Like, this is a bunch of foolery, man. Like, Floyd, shout out to Floyd for getting another bag, but I don't know about this fight, honestly.
The interviewer said, so Floyd, so Logan took your hat, no cap.
Man,
no cap.
I'm sorry, man. You letting a company like Barstool Sports appropriate our culture like that, bro. I can't get with it, but who knows, man. When June comes around, I might tune in. I mean, I'm not paying for the fight, but, you know, I'm gonna find a way to watch it. I might tune in for a bit, but I don't know. The stuff leading up to it is just ridiculous, man. It's really a joke, honestly. And like, at the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul, you're childish, bro. Childish. All right, so that's going to conclude today's episode of CPENN for the Win Show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share on all your social media platforms. And until episode number 24, which is the Kobe Bean, we out here.